As a father, one of my biggest weaknesses and struggles is patience with my kids. Specifically, right now, in helping my oldest learn how to read. I know that she's only 7 and I should give her grace and mercy when helping her read, but there's certain words that I know she knows, right? And she shouldn't be stuck on those for 5 minutes at a time. So that's when my weakness really shines through and I get impatient and frustrated. And sometimes that leads to her crying. And I'll get to bed later at night and review my day and say, man, I really blew that one again. And so I know as a father, that's something I have to work on and improve on, because I don't want to create a complex in her where she thinks, hey, I can't read, I'm not a good reader. And so it's very important for us to realize and be able to evaluate ourselves and take a self-inventory real time in those situations and say, hey, I know my weakness is patience or impatience, and so where I have to guard myself in these moments with her so that I don't damage her. Well, the World Health Organization has come out with a new classification of PTSD called complex PTSD that starts in childhood. I'm Dr. John Bartemus, and I'm putting the pieces together to help you live a life at optimal. Complex PTSD has been recently defined by the World Health Organization as post-traumatic stress disorder that starts in childhood and is associated with sexual abuse, physical abuse, or verbal abuse. So complex PTSD has all the same qualities as PTSD, but then the additional qualities of not feeling good enough, shame, self-sabotage, and things of that nature, depression, anxiety, all of those things heaped on those people. And there's the qualities of them, people who have been abused, they have irrational views of the abuser. They either hold them up as a hero or they're always trying to get revenge on them. Either way is irrational or going overboard one way or the other. So I'm not making this video saying I'm creating complex PTSD in my daughter, and I sure hope I'm not. But what I am saying is, if we know that there is an entity or a defined condition or disease or disorder called complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and we know it's caused by abuse, say sexual abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, well then if the disease is the end stage of it, there's probably a functional disorder associated with it, or a less than diagnosable portion of it, or say a spectrum on which someone could fall. So for me, I'm saying as a father, well, I'm not abusing her, I know that, but am I pushing her down that spectrum towards a complex PTSD by the way that I'm interacting with her when I lose my patience? And so these are the questions as parents we need to ask and be wary of, because I know that you don't and I don't as a parent ever want to push my child that way. And so when I interact with her moving forward, I'm going to be super conscious of this and continue to try and grow myself to be more patient and less impatient, and to love her and support her and encourage her when she's reading, and versus maybe getting frustrated and saying, come on, you should have known this by now, or what have you. On the other side of the coin, for those of you out there who have experienced abuse in your life, whether it be sexual abuse or physical abuse or verbal abuse throughout childhood in a chronic nature, then some of your health challenges may be due to complex PTSD. And the research shows that complex PTSD can lead to long-term psychological and physical health issues down the road. So if you've struggled with health challenges that maybe conventional means haven't been able to address, it may be because they haven't defined it properly, or because it's part of complex PTSD, and it's going to take a lot more to work through that. And by definition, the complex PTSD cases need to have in-depth psychological work done to undo those emotional pains associated with it, but then the complex PTSD can be triggered by inflammatory triggers and lifestyle triggers such as poor diet and poor sleep and physical inactivity and added stress from all the other angles that stress comes from in our lives. So just want to make you aware of complex PTSD as a new condition, and also bring to awareness maybe your weaknesses as a parent and where you could first figure them out if you're not sure if you have them, define them, and then once we define something and measure it, we can then change it. So partner with me in changing your weaknesses to become a better parent and raise our kids as happier, healthier individuals.